Hey friends, this is Marilyn from tarotclarity.com, and this is part 2 of my comparisons of 5 versions of Vieville. Today I'm still showcasing the Tarot Sheet Revival Vieville by Sullivan Hismans. I've done a video of it by itself. I've done a video of it in action, reading a few cards, laying a few cards. And today is the day that I'm doing the pips of the 4 Vieville decks I have. Now I have 5 Vieville decks, but one of the fifth ones by Flournoy only focuses on the Triumph cards. So it does not, this deck was never completed by Flournoy. It was just the Triumph. So today it'll be maybe not as long as yesterday's, or it'll be one deck less. So I'm comparing the Tarot Sheet Revival against the Civilixy, which is a facsimile deck, the Joseph Peterson deck, which is also, I think, I would consider it a facsimile deck that maybe manipulated light a little bit to give it, to bring out the colors or the contrasts, and then the Artisan Tarot deck. Now, when I had the Flournoy, I was able to have 2 decks that were not facsimile decks, but hope to capture the essence of the deck. But now I'll only have one that's a modern deck, and this Hismans, because it's, well, I've already said it in the other video. I think it just really speaks to me like it's a facsimile deck, but he took some risks that I discussed in the other video, which I'll probably mention again when we get to these cards. Let me shut up and flip the camera. Okay, so from left to right, the Sullivan Hismans, Tarot Sheet Revival Vieville, the Civilixy, a facsimile deck, the Joseph Patterson, which I consider to be a facsimile deck, and then the Artisan Tarot, which is I think a reimagined deck. It's not a facsimile deck. So whereas these facsimile decks, and it could be due to age, I don't know, if yellow ink eventually fades into orange or salmon or whatever. But I imagine that since this was a crown, in the day it would have been imagined as at least gold, if not yellow. But maybe it was imagined as like, maybe it was this color, orange. But I don't know. I have a feeling that it was probably more yellow. So the Peterson brings out more of the yellow. And then the Artisan, which definitely brings out the yellow. Okay, now 2 of Swords. Now look, doesn't this look playful? It's like it's just so playful. Like I could see this print on a child's toy. I guess I have too many children's toys. But I could see this being like something that would attract children in the sense that it's so bright and lively, It definitely attracts me. I probably have this upside down, maybe. I'm not sure. I think, yeah, I had it upside down. Or I have one of them upside down. I don't know which one is upside down. So Sullivan seems to, let's see how this one has that. Huh. Oh, my bad. Let me see what this one looked like. Oh, okay, so with this 2 of Swords, the facsimile decks have this was not completed, or it was left out, or it was just made that way. Whereas Sullivan's fixed like replaced it or finished it. But how well, that's okay. So there's a tweak there. And then here is the artisan who also seems to have made that tweak. Very interesting. Okay, 3 swords. Four swords. You see the green. Oh, I'm not supposed to be doing this. I'm supposed to be showing them one at a time. And then the artisan. Okay, we have the 5. I'm not sure if it should be, I'm not sure it was the intended orientation, so I apologize, but I think the rest are upwards, so I'm just reorienting them the same. I had these little buggers out of sequence. So here we have the 6. Seven. This one's pointed down. Oh, I'll make the rest of them pointed down, just to be fair. So this is the Civilixi facsimile. This is the Peterson facsimile. So you see a sense of the ink not registering. And we have that here as well in this other facsimile deck. So this is the way Sullivan Hissman's reimagined how maybe it should have looked, you know? And it also seems as though Artisan accounted for it in the same way. Okay, I guess this is 8 of Swords. So we have the bright yellows, we have, you know, green, actually the, you know, bright greens, the yellows. No blue, except that the gray has a cool feel to it. Here's the Civilixi facsimile. The Peterson facsimile. And then the Artisan, which, as I mentioned, is not a facsimile. And you can see the primary difference with the pips so far with the Artisan is that they, you know, render, you know, actually render what it would look like. It actually, you know, which I imagine if you're carving, you know, 12 cards of this suit, and then you have, you know, and then you have the, I probably got the number wrong, I guess 10, you know, from ace to 10, you know, having to, if you had to do this, you know, by hand, it would probably take forever. And then you'd have the batons as well. But it's a little easier to do with modern day technology, isn't it? Okay. For some reason I like them pointing down today. Well, just put them up because I think the rest of them are probably up. So here we have the 9s. And the artisan. Okay, 10. Now I love this 10. I'm leaving it just the way it is. But you'll notice like how, and I'm sure it'll show up in the facsimiles because I don't imagine that they would have changed, I don't, obviously they can't change how it actually exists, right? So it's interesting that, that this was kept, this wonkiness, like the sword is piercing at this point, but then kind of doesn't quite align proper down here. And then here, it just, is tucked under this thing. Where it's just strange, right? So it's a little bit of a wonky detail, but it's kind of cool. It's just kind of cool. And we have that same wonkiness in the original, so it kept the wonky features of the original. And so did Artisan, except they made these two match rather than have this get tucked under and get misaligned. So they, like, it seems that they they imagine that this is the way it should have been, so that's how they did it. But this is a cool feature. Wonky. You gotta love the wonky in a tarot deck. Okay, the Page of Swords. Oh yeah, the green paid off. I mentioned in the first half of this two-part videos that, how the green paper, when I first received this and I saw the green paper, I said to myself in my own head, wow, that's an interesting choice for a band, right? And then as soon as I open up the deck, it's like, green, okay, I get it. Because that shot of green throughout really like breathes life into these cards. Like it was a bold choice, and I think it paid off, don't you? Page of Swords, the Knight of Swords. I hope sometimes when you hear me make obvious mistakes, like if I said Page of Swords, I would hope that you would realize that I knew that this was the Knight. I think sometimes I think the other day I said something happened and I made a reference of like 3 years ago, but it was really 3 days. It was like, I wonder how many people, realize that that's what I meant to say. And sometimes I say the wrong thing, and I just hope sometimes you'll give me the benefit of the doubt and just realize that I knew better, but my brain and mouth didn't match up. That happens to all of us sometimes, I guess. I mean, there's no sacrifice of detail. If you compare it to a facsimile, right? There's no sacrifice. He's got all that detail in there. There's a lot of detail in this card. This is a very intricate card, which, for the period of time it was printed, it was ambitious, I think. She's beautiful. Look at her. What a beautiful Queen of Swords. Okay, so here we have a facsimile card that's got splotches on it. So I imagine with the civilixie, that's because those splotches were there. Now the Peterson, it seems probably chose to remove them. Either that or it was just something that happened in the civilixie printing, but I doubt it. I think this is a about pretty much a true facsimile. So I think these splotches were probably on the original. No matter how you see her, she's a beauty. The Queen of Swords of this Vieville deck. She's a beauty. Okay, equally handsome King of Swords. Okay, so we have one of these things doesn't belong with the others. Let me fix this. Okay, Ace of Cups. Another bold choice was, emulating the folded paper, the way they made cards in this period of time to keep them from fraying and preserving them. So the back would have been extended and, framed the artwork, which is probably why tarot cards traditionally have borders, because that's how they appeared, They had borders because paper was tucked over, so it kind of gave it a natural border. Now, in the facsimile decks, which I presume to be pretty much true facsimiles, don't have any suggestion of the border, right? So that was, to me, it says that this was a bold choice of Hissman's, was to give the border a voice, and just a little extra kick. Diagonal lines are lines of action, right? They're definitely lines of action. So, the psychology of line, it could really, add a lot to, to the activity of the voice of the deck. This is a deck with a voice. This deck is alive. Well, I probably don't have to go for each card at this stage. It's already at almost 20 minutes. So what I'm going to do is just show the suits individually, and I'll make comments. Like you see, the suit of cups here is very alive. Very springtime. And here we have the quartz. And this, look how, like he looks like he's on an urgent mission. Is it the diagonals that enhance that? Is it the, the vibrant green? It's like, he's determined. He's doing something. Well, he's a little less determined than the page. But he's still breathing it. But he's still breathing. He's still a lively figure. Okay, now here's what's left of the cups of the facsimile Civilixie. with time, the vibrancy has diminished, I think. It's still a deck that people love. You know, this was the only Vieville I had for a long time, and I loved it. I thought it was an awesome deck, you know. But, you know, now I'm just so much more in love with it, you know, with, this is the Peterson. And each time I got a different version, I loved it even more, you know, than before. Because maybe, you know, when I got the Peterson, it was even, you know, brighter and cleaner than the original, you know. And then I got this one, the Artisan, and I was like, oh, that's real clean, you know. That's a real clean version of, you know. And, you know, like you get some of that modulation of the old-time print, you know, the old-time ink. So I was like, wow, the quartz, the figures are especially nice. And the King of Cups. Okay, so I have to go off camera because apparently I screwed up again with the order. So let me fix it. Okay, the suit of batons. Okay, now notice the vibrancy of this, you know. He's really thrusting this thing into the world. You know, the stalk is green. It's got energy. This guy's alive, you know. Oh, that was lucky. A lucky pick. A bit, you know, a little lackluster. But I mean, time will do that. I'm a lot lackluster as compared to what I was when I was young. Oh, wow, 2 times in a row. Isn't that funny? This is the Peters. So I breathed a little fresh air into it, I think with light manipulation and, you know, not doctoring anything up, just, you know, using light to its best advantage. I think that's what the Peterson did in that deck, which makes it a lovely choice. I didn't quite get this one right. Let's put this back. But this is definitely alive. It's vibrant. You know, I can really appreciate how difficult this must have been to accomplish on a computer. I mean, I don't know computer graphics, but because so many computer-generated things are kind of lackluster, I really appreciate it when I see something that's, you know, an attention, you know, a subtlety and detail. I really appreciate. And then, of course, the whole interior of the lacework is where Artisan really, you know, brings it to life. I think no matter who did this deck, this is a great deck. I don't think you can go wrong with whose ever version you have. But this is a great version right here. I just wasn't, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but I just wasn't expecting to love this deck so much. I love Vieville. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I mean, is that not gorgeous? Let me see what the Vieville looks like. The 8 of coins. Let me see. No. So it parted ways with the facsimile. It made the choice of putting the green in the center. Wow, good choice. Because it is so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me finish with. So coins is the last suit, so I might as well just pick it all up. So we got through it at 25. Well, it'll probably be a half an hour by the time we're done. But you know, the suit of coins isn't always exciting. But this is an exciting suit in this deck. And this is what's left of the coins that I didn't show. The Peterson. And the Artisan. So I kept this one under a half an hour. Oh, that's beautiful. That blue is just lovely. Yeah, they did a nice job with this suit as well. These are beautiful. These are really beautiful. Oh, that's gorgeous. So there we have it, friends. The 5 Vieville decks that I own and how they compare with Tarot Sheet Revival. They all have their wonderful points. But I am prejudiced, I think. And I'm kind of... Did I fail to show these? No, I did. I must have shown these, right? Yeah, I did. So, wow. So I hope you agree that that was a really nice comparison. I think it really is. I mean, you know, no matter which version you have, I think you can't go wrong with the Vieville because it's a lot of fun. You know, it's a great deck, and there's so many wonky features about it that you could just peruse it for years, you know, and notice something for the first time, or rediscover it. Maybe you already knew it, but you forgot. You know, which happens. So it's a great deck. And, you know, if you can, now if you don't, what if you don't have any decks? Okay, if you don't have any Vieville and you want to know which one of these should I get? Well, the Vieville probably is off the table because I don't know if it's even in print anymore. So that's a possibility. So if you're going for a facsimile, you could look for that. Maybe you could find it on eBay, or maybe it's not out of print, you know, but I think it might be. The Peterson is not out of print, and that's a facsimile, right? The Joseph Peterson deck. His name is Joseph H. Peterson. And I think this is really close to a facsimile, you know, without doing too many manipulative things other than light. And then, of course, the Artisan is like is a reimagined kind of version, like the Fleur Noir was. But if I could only afford one, and I picked from one of these 5, including the Fleur Noir, which only did the 22 cards, I think I'm going to have to go with the Tarot Sheet Revival version because it's just, it's magnificent. It's really magnificent. I'm happy to have all the others. I think all the others are wonderful and they all have their strengths. I'm not saying that, but if I, rather than spending money on 5 different decks to have all of these decks, I think I probably would have this deck, But at any rate, that's just me. Until next time, peace, stay well, be kind, and do no harm.